Good morning, Eva. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Nice to
Thank
meet
you
you.
for coming today, finding time for us. I'm
Ah,
Liz.
no, thank you guys because I know it's like 7 a.m. Well, depending on where you
It
are.
is, but beggars are not choosers. So
Wait.
I had to make myself available, and I will. Last time I was up at 5 a.m., mind you, and the person didn't show up. They had a problem. So,
Right,
you gotta do what you gotta do. That's just the way
right.
it is. So
Understandable.
tell me, I got a whole list of questions here for you.
Okay.
But don't panic because I know you can get it. So Eva
That's fine.
Ndumbe, right? Is that how you pronounce
Okay.
it?
What's that?
Is that how you pronounce your name? Eva Ndumbe?
Yes.
Ooh, I got it right. So you are an event organizer, a radio and TV host, Sony Music Entertainment representative. Sony. That's a big title. When you see it,
Yeah,
you're like, oh,
that's my
I know
biggest
about
job.
that. Yeah. So
That's my
tell me, do you have like an order for those hats, or it doesn't really matter?
It doesn't. Sometimes I do like all of those jobs in a day. Sometimes there's one thing I don't do, or something. Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter.
Oh wow.
Like my biggest job or my biggest title, if you want, is the Sony one because that's like pretty huge. But to me, they're all the same because they all matter, if you want, if you will. 'Cause- but that's my biggest title. Um, but I do everything almost every day.
Wow. But when you hear that, that's what I said. When I heard that you are the head and the representative of Sony in Cameroon, I was like, ooh, that's a big shock.
Yeah, that job, like I wasn't even expecting it to be mine because when they were choosing, if you will, I was with another gentleman who was way better than I was because I had just moved back to Cameroon from the States in like 20. Well, this was in 2016, but I moved back 2015, like end 2015, October, November. And this job was like, I wouldn't say up for grabs per se, but it just so happened that I went to South Africa for an award ceremony by MTV, and the Sony Music in Francophone Africa had just been created at that time. Like they had been there for a year, but they hadn't made a public or an official announcement that they were present, but they were like working in the background. And in South Africa, it just so happened that the director of communications, who's a young lady from Gabon, got stuck with English at some point and couldn't like communicate and stuff. And I was there like, oh, like I can help you out. And funny enough, like we'll go to the conference rooms and stuff, and I'll be like, oh hey, hi Sarkozy, how you doing? My name is Eva Ndumbe, from Sony. Like I mean, like why would I give you the whole story? Like, oh no, I'm not from Sony. Like this is the girl from Sony, but she doesn't speak English, so it was a whole long thing. So I was just like, oh hey, hi, Wizkid, how you doing? My name is Eva Ndumbe from Sony Music, for Cote d'Ivoire. Where's your manager? Would like to link up, talk business, talk music, stuff like that. And that's how it started. And then 2017, the general manager of Sony Music Cote d'Ivoire actually calls me and calls this other guy from Cameroon who was also in South Africa. Um, and he's like, look, so you guys should come to Cote d'Ivoire in February for FEMOA, which is a music festival that's organized by Asalfo, who's one of the members of Magic System.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you guys should come here for a week. Let's have fun. Let's work. Because what happens with Sony is, so Sony artists from other countries, when they come to, let's say, either Cameroon or they go to Cote d'Ivoire, the Sony representatives in those countries actually supervise or quote unquote take care of them.
Okay.
So during that period, in Ivory Coast, some artists from Sony Music France were actually in Abidjan. They had a whole bunch of work to do and they had promo to do. And he was just like, you guys, both of you come through, come for a whole week. We actually stayed at the Sony headquarters too. It was pretty dope. And then we did the whole festival. We worked with the other artists from France, Black M, Singila. It was cool. And then so from all of that, the GM had to actually choose who he wanted to be the rep in Cameroon. I wasn't expecting to get the job, to be honest, because the other guy had been like, he had made his name. He was a known name in media. Like I was just coming back, despite the fact that I had started in media a long time ago, but I traveled, so I had to start all over again from scratch. So people were still trying to, figure out what I'm doing or know what I'm doing, know me. So I wasn't really expecting it. My only thing was, you know what, this experience is something that I don't think I'd have ever like gone through, maybe in the States or wherever. So the only thing I'm here for is to make the connections, meet these people, and be able to make my radio show like one of the dopest, because it's like, anytime I wanted to just talk to an artist, I'll be able to interview an artist. So that was my main thing. I wasn't expecting to get the job, nothing. I don't know what happened. And one day in 2017, I got the phone call that I got the job. I was like, are you guys sure to
Mhm.
say? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay. So that's pretty much the story behind Sony.
So it's like you were at the right place at the right time, and the opportunity
Exactly.
showed up, and just like that.
Yes, and it's so crazy because every time I tell that story, it's like people are like, "But how did you know?" The thing is, when I moved back, I really didn't have a plan. I wouldn't lie, I didn't have a plan for what I was going to do. I was moving back to just like relax. I'm so, sorry, I got a phone call.
So
um, so
talking
I was
about
saying,
moving back, you said you studied
yeah,
abroad. So what is your journey, your academic journey? So you started in Cameroon and then you went abroad. Is that correct?
yes, that's correct. So
Where in Cameroon did you study, and when
I went.
did you study?
I'm a
What did you study?
proud secretary.
And is there anything in those places that you learn and carry through today,
hmm
or something that you think is most valuable? Like, what did you learn in Seka, and what did you
hmm
learn in you studied in Houston? Oh, you're in my town.
Yeah,
You were in my town, actually. Woo! So,
I'm a Cougs. Go
so
Cougs. University of Houston.
okay,
Um,
tell us about it.
um,
Oh my.
to be honest, when I went through a boarding school, to be honest with you, I didn't like boarding school because I felt like it was the most difficult thing ever. Like, oh, I'm away from my parents. It's so tough. I had to do stuff by myself. I felt a little bad. But then, that was when I was younger. So from one, from two, you're like, oh, this is, and then, from three, when people start calling you sister and you can start sending people to do stuff, school starts becoming fun and stuff like that. But um, when it comes to what I learned or what I took with me is I feel like me being able to survive on my own in the States comes from what I learned in boarding school. That's how I see it. Most of the time, I used to tell people that, Seka didn't pass through me. I passed through Seka. But the truth is, I don't think I would be able to do certain things that I did as a young adult in America, because I went to America. I was like, what, 17, 18, and I lived with family for not even up to 6 months, and then I was on my own. So me being by myself, it's like, how do you know that you have to wake up in the morning and make up your bed? Like all those things they just automatically come to you because you were in a situation in your sometime in your life where you learned how to do those things, how to take care of yourself, how to be disciplined, how to for time management, all of that stuff. So what boarding school, for example, what Sika actually taught me was how to be independent, how to be disciplined in that independence. And to me, those are one of the things, major things for me, because you're going to a country that you've never been to before. You're staying on your own that you've never done before. Because despite the fact that you were on your own in Sika, you really weren't on your own. Like you're in a boarding school. So, but this one is different. This one you have to go to work. You have to pay rent, pay your bills. You have a home. You have all of that stuff. So I just feel like that kind of prepared me for, like, my time in boarding school prepared me for my adulthood, so to speak, if you want. Um, yeah, and then after Seka, well, I went to another school after that, but it was lycée, so I'm not going to I'm not going to count that. And
Mhm.
then I went to another boarding school here in Douala called Horizon, and it's from Horizon that I actually moved to the States. Actually, I had a most people don't know this, but I had a sabbatical year,
Oh, okay.
and I know people were like, "Yo, how did you even do this?" Because my mom was pretty cool about it, but my dad was like furious. um, what happened was I started working at a TV and radio station when I was in Lower Sith. Well, from 5 Lower Sith. I used to do the youth programs on STV and STV, the TV station, and RTM, a radio station, so both local. And in my head, I was like, "Yo, this is it! Like, I don't. I'm
Started feeling
technically right.
like
I'm like, this is
that's
this is it.
what I
This
want to
is it. Like the rest doesn't matter. Like this is it. Isn't this why we go to school to work?
do.
I'm already working. I just think it's the fear of my mom that made me actually do do opposite and A levels because I'm sure my mom was like, nope, you can't even. Because in my head I was like, look, the reason why I'm going to school is to work. Can you imagine? I'm in lower seat and I'm already working. I mean, like, isn't this the best thing ever? And my mom was like, nah, you have to do at least have your GC and then we'll see. So when I got my A levels, I had to beg my mom. I was like, can I have a sabbatical year? Because I'm working already. So let me just work this whole year. So that year I worked so much. I did radio, I did TV, I did commercials,
Wow.
I did a whole bunch of stuff. And then I was like, yo, but this is it. Like my mom was like, okay, so what's next? And my plan for you is to go to the States and continue school. And I was like, no, it's not necessary. I'm already
I'm
making my
good.
life. I'm making my life here, I can just go to UB or go to Douala or something and then just go to work, like go to school maybe at night and I don't know, something. My mom was like, no, no. Like, I had like so many shows coming up, like people had created shows for me technically. My
Wow.
mother was like, nah, she has to go to school, man. She has to go to school. So I was like, you know what? I mean, okay. So I pushed my date so many times to travel, but my mom was like, this is too much. You keep pushing it. Like, you would never be ready to go. So just go. So May 2008, yeah, May 2008, I traveled, and then of course, like I guess like everyone else, my first stop was Maryland. Stopped there first. I went to community college, Montgomery College, Rockville, and then after spending some time working and stuff, I was like, you know what, I'm going to move elsewhere. Um, at that time, my dad used to spend a lot of time in Texas.
Okay.
And me being in Maryland, I wasn't able to really see my dad that much. So I was like, you know what, let me go to school in Texas. So that's when I went to University of Houston. And while I was in Texas, I used to have a part-time job. Well, I used to work at AT&T and then part-time. And then I had another part-time job at a local TV station as well, but it was Nigerian owned. And
Okay.
what I usually do on there is I would, do cover movie premieres and, events and all that stuff. So that's what I used to do for them. Um, at some point, I think they closed down. I'm not sure. I don't remember very well. But I had that. And then I had this podcast with this friend from Ghana. And then, yeah, at some point I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I think the moment for me where I was like, I'm moving back to Cameroon is, apart from the fact that I lost my parents during that period, was also like, you know what? I went to see my counselor at University of Houston, and she was telling me how when I graduate, I would be like a traffic girl. Like they'll be sending me to places, say, "Hi, this is Eva from K5, K95. I'm standing on I-90, I-90,
Oh
I-95,
yeah,
yes."
yeah, 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 yeah. I see them
You
on.
know, right? Like, hello, I'm standing on Westheimer Road, right in front of the grocery store that was robbed. I was like, what? I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that. I was like, and then I was like, well, but you know what? I was like, how much does it, like, usually how much is it an hour? Because our counselor at that time, she's an Emmy award winning,
Hmm?
like, journalist. So, and she's telling her story and I'm hearing like, oh, 10 years of work before I got like recognized, and I'm like, what? So I'm going to work like this traffic girl or whatever reporter job for like what? And then she's like, yeah, $16 an hour, and then you don't really have like a fixed schedule, like anything can happen at any time. I could be
Wow.
sleeping and they rob someone on, I don't know, at the Galleria, and I have to go and rush to the Galleria. I was like, nah, I just was like, no. So I have to do this. She's like, yeah, you have to work so hard, you have to do this for a while before, like, you may even have your own show on like the local chat.
Channel.
I was like, nah. I was like, nah, I can't do this. So those are one of the things that made me also be like, you know what? Everything I've learned here, let me just take it back to Cameroon, man. I think I'll be way better. And just like that, I have like six jobs, six jobs now. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah. I don't think I would have been a Sony anything. Well, I'm not saying I wouldn't. I don't. Well, I don't know. That's a what if. I would never know if
I
I
mean,
stayed in America. If
I
I
feel
would
like
have been a
it happened for a reason. That's me.
yeah,
I believe for sometimes, like everything
right.
happens for a reason, and sometimes we don't realize it at the instant. But
Hmm.
when you get to a place and then you start looking back, you're like, oh, hold on a minute, this is so
Right.
funny. Like
Exactly.
all the everything that happened and everything
Right.
unfolded and where you are, you're like, how is this even connected? Like, oh my gosh,
It
you
makes
know.
no sense, right? It just happened, like you said. Everything happens. I agree, completely agree.
But something
Um,
strike me in what you said. You were working in Cameroon so young, like the culture in Cameroon is not yet like that. This is like European culture,
it
like
is
when you finish high school or something,
right.
work. Like I'm
Like, or
so
even when you're in high school, you maybe a babysitter, or you like mow the lawn.
and even if you're in Cameroon, even if you're from a lower income family, the mentality is not about
Oh,
children going to work. Now,
exactly.
up to
That's true.
2010, you could barely see people in shops being student.
Yes,
There'll be dropouts, there'll be old people without jobs or young people without jobs, but
that's true.
very rarely would you see somebody that is working there and studying at the
Going
same
to
time.
school.
You
Yeah,
know, but you almost had a whole career going on already, and you still.
I did. It's so
Oh,
crazy because
no,
it's
no.
like
Did you get
it's
like
like
a job or did you find it for yourself?
it's like so how this happened is the funniest, like I don't know. So it's like one day, because I can't even explain where the love for media or like radio or TV came from, because compared to other people when I was younger, I would watch international or foreign channels, but for some reason I was so stuck on like our private channels, and I would listen to a lot of radio. I don't know why. It just happened. I don't just know how. Um, and just this one time, I was with my mom and we're watching TV, and one guy did a show, and I was like, "Yo, I can do this better than him." Just like that, like so random. I was like, "I can do this." My mom was like, "Do what better?" I'm like, "I can literally do the show better than this guy. Like, I just know that I can." And she was like, "This is so strange." And then like 2 3 weeks after, like right into that time was third term holidays, and right into it, my mom comes to the house and she's like, "Guess what?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "STV is actually hosting like an auditions for a young VJ for TV. You said you could do better, right? So why don't you do it?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And we placed a bet. We placed a bet for like 5,000, I think, or so. Imagine 5,000 back then. That was a lot of money. And I asked my best friend at the time, Maggie. I said, "I'm going to do this. Come with me." She said, "Okay." And we went. And I went, and there were like 200 people. There was an extremely long line. I filled out my form, and they said, "Okay." So what they needed to do is the auditions were pretty. Well, I wouldn't say simple, but the auditions were just, I'll say, straight to the point. You choose a song that was trending at that time, and in less than a minute, or was it a minute, you had to introduce the artist, introduce the song, and give a fun fact or give an important fact about that artist in that 1 minute, in English and French.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, this is easy. I was like, this is so easy. And my mom was like, "I am so cocky right now." She said, "Anyway," she said, "We have a bet, 5,000." I was like, "Okay." But the thing is, you're saying it's easy, and then when you get there, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is
The nerve.
not as easy as I thought it was going to be," because then you get nervous and stuff. And most people don't know this, but I don't see without my glasses. So my defense mechanism to being nervous is to not wear my glasses. So if I have to host like a concert on stage, I don't wear my glasses because then I don't see anyone. So I just don't get nervous at all. So on that day, I took off my glasses. I couldn't see anyone, no judge, nothing. I couldn't see anybody. And it was literally like I was in my room just practicing something. And yeah, I was alone. So I did that, English and French. And they said, okay, that they'll get back to us. The judge was, I can remember very well, Bea was there, Uncle Bea. Uncle Bea was like, "No, you do it like this." I was so scared. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" I was so scared. And after that, one of the judges, or one of the people in the audience, if you want, he came over to me. He was like, "Oh, I did really well," and that he has a studio where he does voiceovers. So I could do voiceovers as well. So I went and did my first voiceover that day too. Crazy enough. And then 3 4 days after, um, we were all together, like my friends, and just chilling with my friend Maggie, who did the show as well, or who did the auditions as well. And they all received text messages like, "Hello, this is from STV. You have been retained as one of the youth members." And I was the only one who had no text message, and I felt so bad. If I say I wasn't jealous, I'm lying. I was envious. I was like, I'm the one who brought all of you guys to this thing, and why are they not choosing me? I was so mad, and I took my phone and I deleted all my text messages, everything. I was like, I this something needs to happen. And like an hour or 30 minutes later, I got a message, and I was like, oh, as I went home and I was screaming, and my mom was like, okay, so you did well, you did well. And then come to find out, I was actually the best of the 200. I was like, see,
Wow.
I told my mom, I was like, you see? So I was low key a personal favorite, and then sometimes I was like the teacher's pet at the STV, and people just didn't like that. But I didn't even know that that's what I was. I just felt like, maybe everybody was being treated the same. It's like a couple of years after that people were telling me, you were a teacher's pet, right? Like you did nothing wrong. Nobody ever yelled at you. Nobody ever did anything. But yeah, so we did a youthful type show in the morning for youth during the third term holidays, and then during regular everyday we had like a show that was about the youth who go and discover places in Douala at that time. So art shops, maybe a carpenter who does like beds, like stuff like that. Like we showed people.
Pretty cool, actually. It's like finding talent, spotting talent, and it's
Exactly.
by you.
Exactly. So we did that as well. And what we did for that one, we did like recorded. So they played it because since most of us had to go to school, so they will play it. We'll record it earlier, and then or record 2 or 3 shows on a Saturday and Sunday, and then they'll play it during like 2 3 weeks. So we did that as well, and then there was this very popular cultural like pop culture type show called Hype It. It was hosted by Tito Valeri. So Tito actually was like our like mentor or our teacher, if you want, at the TV station, and then he made all of us like host his show at least once. So we did that as well. So technically, it was like 3 shows, and then when Two Face at that time came to Cameroon, like I was the one who actually interviewed him. Well, one of the people who interviewed him, and Tito as well. So Tito and I and someone else, I think, interviewed him. What else did I do that year? So that was pretty much. I don't know. I just think in the beginning it was like, oh, maybe this is just like a thing for just to have something to do during the holidays, and that's it. And then it just snowballed into something bigger
I think
as
that's
time
what
went by.
to be honest, because I feel like you had it in you, and it just kind of,
Just kind of, yeah, it just kind of like boom out of
yeah.
nowhere. Right, I agree. And then
But
at
do
the
you
same
think
time,
programs still exist? Because those are pretty cool, actually. If they're still like that, it'll be very cool to help young people get their artistic side and their inner, because
I
you
don't think
didn't know
we don't have any shows like that anymore.
that's so sad, though.
I
I
know, I agree.
just
I
feel
agree.
so sad because
That
when
was really good.
I got
Like
it, I remember it. We have so many shows like that in France, in America,
exactly,
they offer
exactly.
stuff for children to be involved in, which is great. Back in the
Right.
day,
And
there
it's
was Chez nous les mômes. It
chez nous
wasn't
les mômes.
exactly. It wasn't something that was hosted by a child, but it was almost like a club the whole
Almost
thing France,
exactly.
about
Exactly.
children, just to kind of get them interacted, give them a little bit more openings of the mind,
Hmm.
get their mind open to different things, to craft, to singing, to different
Right.
things. And I think
Yes.
that also helped maybe a child to kind of find their own path rather than just looking up a family member and be like, oh, my dad is a lawyer, I'm gonna be a lawyer.
But I want to be a lawyer.
You know,
Exactly.
sometimes
Exactly.
you might
Exactly.
need that other side to kind of help you find your own path. So this is
Exactly.
great. I have another question for you. So
Sure.
after all this, because when I look at your resume, if I didn't even know you, I'll just feel like, oh, this is a perfect journalist. You end up a journalist, you'll be in TV. So yes, you are because you're a TV and radio host. But at the same time, you still added that Sony Entertainment cap on your head, and you feel so excited about it because I remember the word you just used a few minutes ago, dope. You said it was dope. So how is it for a young black Cameroonian lady like you in the music
Mhm.
industry? Do they welcome you wide arms open, or do you have to work 3 times harder? Do people
Oh, you
headache?
know,
How is it?
I have gotten so aggressive that sometimes I don't even recognize myself in like everyday life, which is very sad. It's just the truth because even my Sony job, for example, when it was announced that I got the job, there was a guy who asked me who I did sexual favors for to get the job, for example. Because it's in their heads. It's like, how? One other time I had gone to, we had to have this business transaction with a distribution company here. And I went there and stuff. And the first thing the man tells me is he couldn't believe that I am not only a woman, but I'm like very young. Like, how did I get this job? That's just so me. What more of like the music itself, where right now, for example, I am manager for Magasco, and I'm also a music exec at the label. So
That's one more hat.
thank you. So that's another thing, because then you have to be so aggressive for these men to be able to even listen to you or to take you seriously. It is so sad, because actually most of the your favorite artists managers are all women. Like, it's mostly the women who are backing these people. But it's like every career field is male dominated. I don't know, it's like every single one. There's no one where they feel like, okay, this is female dominated, except it's being a mother, I guess. But like, no, but like nothing else is like just for females, because even the kitchen, they'll tell you the best chefs are male chefs, which is supposed to be technically where our space, our spot is, or where our lane is. They say no, a woman's supposed to be in the kitchen, but even then, you guys still take it over. You take it, you come and you own it, and you say the best chefs in the world are men. Um, so with that in mind, in the beginning, when I came through, when I started working, it was so hard, because it's like you have to talk to these people like you're talking to regular people, and they'll just be like, they'll be like, yeah, 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 we hear you, but no one is getting the job done. I have become so aggressive. Like, most people don't even know that I laugh. I don't think they do. Some people,
So you're just
some
like,
people, yeah, some people, like, there's sometimes I will actually talk to like young bloggers and stuff. I probably see them on the road or in a restaurant, and I'll be like, oh, hey, how you doing? I know you're the guy who owns so blog. Good job, nice to meet you, da 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 da. And he will write to me later and be like, oh, my friends asked me if I know you, like, oh, you know her, you talk to her. I'm like, how scary can am I? I'm like the nicest person. I'm always smiling. But the thing is, it has become second nature, to the point where I don't even know that that's what I'm exuding, or that's what I'm showing people, or I'm intimidating people, because it has gotten to a point where if you don't, you have to literally seize that, like, you have to seize the respect. It's like you can't just sit and be like, let me just work and they'll respect me now. Like, you have to walk in like you own the place. You have to speak like you're not scared. You have to shake hands and look into eyes. Everyone is, it's very like, being a female manager or being a female music exec now, it's like in Cameroon is becoming a thing. But before it became a thing, it's been, because the first time I ever managed anyone was in 2007, 2008. When I was working at the TV station, I also used to manage Nabil for real and Jack Napier. So it wasn't new. This is not new to me. It's like I've always known how it is. But then I was really young. I wasn't. I don't think I was in a space where I could command like people, or I could come in with like an authoritative like aura. I was just like, oh, no, don't. But like now, it's like, yo, don't do this. You don't do this. I don't need you here. You're fired. Like, I've become so icy. I'm just like, this is insane. But I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice to be respected, to avoid people to even have that space. Like, I don't even give people the opportunity to approach me. Um, Talk less of like being able to make certain statements, because even the statements of sexual favors, the statements of oh, you're so young, how did you get the job, all of those things is just because at some point I let people just come a little bit closer. Like, I just let my guard down just a little bit, and it just showed me like, okay, look, you let your guard down, these people will crush you, or they will say things that will make you look crazy. So I was just like, you know what, i'm not I'm not even joking with this. So that is the only thing I could do. Super aggressive, super authoritative, like, I'm here, like, there's nothing you can do. I'm here and I get the job done. If at some point I wasn't working and I was lazy, I'll understand people say things, I'll be like, okay, makes sense. Yeah, they have the right to. But I work, and I work, and I get um, people recommend me for jobs. People offer me more and more jobs. Like I don't think if I wasn't doing a good job, that would happen. So yeah,
That is so diminishing. So, like, sometimes to just assume that, because they want a male face, a male figure at a position, and they see a
hmm
female, it has to always be somehow from the back door,
exactly, exactly. It's
straightforward.
crazy.
I worked my ass off for this. I did hard. I did what I had to do, and I got the brain. You know, people don't
Exactly.
think
Like,
about it,
why is it so difficult to understand? I don't know.
and
Like, it's like straight
then
up, you're
people
telling me,
don't,
oh,
which is
sexual.
another.
Like this guy, he had no shame. He didn't think about it twice. He did not. He asked me to my, not like he asked him. He asked me to my face. He asked me, like, who did you give sexual favors to get this job? And I just chuckled and I walked away. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, it happens. Yeah, it's terrible.
So tell us,
It's very
what is a day of work like for you? Like, what do you do in a day? What can you
okay.
do?
Okay, let me try
All
and
of them,
like.
which one? How do you juggle them in one day?
It's so much happening before I could be able to get. I'm still not very stable, but before I was able to get a level of stability. It took a while because it was a little bit crazy. Okay, so one thing is with Sony, we don't have an office yet, which I'm not in a rush to actually go for because it's nothing to rush. There's nothing crazy about that. Like it's not special. I've not gotten to a point, in my opinion, or I've not gotten to a point where we're really established in the country yet. So there's no point getting an office. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the only place I actually go to is like radio. So that too is not, radio is once a day. So yeah. So I
Is
mostly spend my
that
time at home.
something? Is that
My
something? Or,
my computer and my laptop are my best friends.
um,
So my day is pretty much if anything it is routine, but I will go out of routine if I have meetings, like physical meetings out of my home. But then when I wake up in the morning, first thing is I check social media.
mhm.
I have to check my Gasco's social media. I have to check the label social media. I consult for another label called ATM. I check their stuff as well. Um, what else do I do in the morning? So that's for social media. So that's the first thing I do. Then my own social media too. That's the first thing I do in the morning. Then I check emails. Now, most of the emails I check are for Sony, because Sony, since it's in Cote d'Ivoire, most of my work emails are mostly Sony emails. So I check Sony emails to check if they've sent us like a new package for a new song, a new CD, a new da 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 da. When I see that, or if I receive that, the next thing I do immediately, because I may forget, the next thing I do immediately is I reach out to the different media and I let them know I have an exclusive for so artist, be it TV, be it a music video or an audio. So that I just get out of the way already. So during the day, I will get responses for that, so that can be handled. If I don't get anything, I just start working already on my monthly report, because I have to send monthly reports every month to Sony, and the monthly reports are pretty much on the artistic side of how music is the music scene, how it's maybe progressing or if it's changing, stuff like that, and a list of artists that I think are potential or are a good fit to be signed to the label. And then another report is on communication, or how the music of the artists, the Sony artists who are not Cameroonian, how it's being received in the country, if it's being played on radio, if people are talking about it on social media, if it's being played on TV. So there's that too. So usually I start doing those reports way early, just so I don't have like so much to do at the end of the month. So if I have no emails from Sony, I just spend an hour to start working on my reports. That's that's my next thing. Right after that, I phone calls.
Okay.
Well, I check the label, Magasco's label email as well. So B Boy Records email. I check that too, because most of the time, most people from event organizers from other countries will send emails to see if they can book him for so and so 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 and so 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 and so. So I check that too. I also check because most of the time, young up and coming artists will send their music so he can listen to, maybe give advice or maybe jump on the songs as well. I listen to that too. If he cannot jump on the song, or even if he can, the most we do is we promote them, we post them on the page, and we're like, check out this new artist, is really good. There's the link, watch his YouTube, blah blah blah. Right after that is phone calls. I make phone calls. I reply text messages. It could be anything. It could be I'm trying to hire a new social media manager. It could be anything. I do that. And then then my day just, if I have emails, I'm out of the house. If not, like, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I also just got another job offer that I accepted. I just haven't started that one yet. Because I had a little issue with my laptop, so I haven't started that one yet. But I should be starting sometime next week. This one too is not too much on me, but I don't know. I think working makes me happy because I don't know. I can't stop. Like, people offer me jobs, I just say yes, 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 yes. I think it just makes me happy. I think so because I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much my day. Now, if when I start work with this new job, well, actually, I think I accepted two. I'm not sure. There should be two job offers that I accepted. I have to be sure. Yeah, it's terrible. I have to be sure. Another one, but the most I do when it comes to work is mostly consultancy, because most people I consult with me for their labels and maybe artists and stuff like that. I feel like that's where, not I feel like it's a fact. That's where I actually get more work as a consultant, because then I have to talk to like 3, 4, 5 labels at the same time and give advice here, 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 or tell them what to do and stuff like that. Usually it depends. Some of them it's a yearly contract, some of them it's just 3 months, some of them it's 6. Sometimes it's just straight up 3 months, it's over. Sometimes it's a year, it's renewable. So it all depends. It's here and there. And then for event organization, right now, I haven't. The last event I was part of was last year. It was an event here called Diaspora Invasion. I was involved in that, but before that, I did the Made in Cameroon Festival in the U.S. in Maryland in 2018, and then 2000 and yeah, still yeah, no, yeah, 2018 was that. 2019, I did Boiler Room here in Douala. I did the video concert here in Douala too, and then 2020, no, yeah, 2020, no, 2020, I didn't do anything 2020 because of Corona, of course. But yeah, so but event organization so far, I just get involved when it's necessary, but I don't really do too much on that end anymore. But what I'm really working on now, and I hope it's going to work out, is I'm doing more of production now. So I'm actually with a fellow colleague. We're actually producing a show for Valentine's Day and some other shows too. So hopefully everything, works out by this. If everything works out the way it's supposed to, by the end of the year, I should have like 4 shows on TV.
Oh wow,
I know. Thank you. I should
that's
have like 4 shows on TV,
like
and
wow.
I'll be the host of like 3 to cut costs.
I remember if I ever want to go into music, I'll send you my demo. That's one thing I
Please
remember.
do. Please
Okay,
do. I've
I'm
listened to so many songs. I
a
just felt
lover
like
singer, trust me. If I send you my demo, you remember it, even though it's not. I'm
I know. Please send, please send. So yeah, but pretty much that's my day. Yeah, but I'm mostly, crazy enough. I'm always at home. I'm always at home.
That was my
Um,
question. Like, in a day like that, do you have a work-life balance, or is it just like kind of mix and match? Do you
well,
actually have private time, or is your private
I
time
really don't. I don't remember the last time I took a vacation. Probably, to, 2018,
because
maybe.
you travel for work too, right? So if the work needs you to go to Ivory Coast or South Africa, or whatever, you have to go.
Right, but I'll go and work. That's the
I
thing.
know. So work-life
It's
balance, no.
no, it's not. I don't even I don't even date. That's how bad it is.
Dating is another topic because it's not that easy. Let people not make you feel like there's something wrong with you. Dating,
Oh no, I trust to be very honest. Like, I really don't care. I
no,
really don't.
dating is hard. To me,
I
dating
really
is hard.
people actually have problems with me for not wanting to be like dating. But like, I'm just like, I don't have time. I have put so much into, I don't know if I'll say, like I said, I think I said this earlier, but working actually makes me happy because it's like, it's one of those things where it was something I would do on the side for fun, and then now it's like I get paid for it. So it's like I'm having fun 100 like every day,
So you're
even
like,
though now, right? Even though now it seems a
you're
bit
doing
more
what you like. That's not work. Work is painful.
right. Exactly. The only thing is now, there are other things that I have to do, like paperwork, which was something that I wouldn't do if it was for fun. But apart from that, I mean, what is paperwork? The moment you schedule your time properly and you're, I guess, a little bit disciplined, because sometimes I'm not going to lie, my discipline will be shaky. I'll be like, you know what, I am tired, and I'll put my phone off and I'll just sleep. I've done that so many times where I'm just like, you know what, I am tired. Today I don't want to burn out. Guys, leave me alone. And nobody ever listens because one person will call you like, leave me alone. I just want to sleep, and then the other person will call you, no, c'est que je voulais. Oh, grande sœur, non, dis-moi, c'est comme ça ici. No, I was just like, oh my god. And then will call me, oui, tu devais venir parler de la consultation. Il fallait la consultation, non, pour le label, pour l'artiste. I'll just be like, yo, everybody just leave me alone. Because there's this other, like the phone call I just received when we started the interview. I'm also going to be hosting this show that's based on women. It's called La Première. So pretty much it's about women who were the first to do anything in Cameroon. First gynecologist, first general, first colonel, first beauty store, whatever. So
Amazing.
it's a show that, I'm sorry.
I think that would be a great show. I think it's really good to just
Yes,
know who are the
it's going to be good. I actually really liked it, and when they called me and I had a meeting to talk about the show, I was like, this is a very good show, and they wanted someone who was bilingual. And to be honest, and it's crazy, we don't have many bilingual journalists. So it's a plus. It's a huge, huge, huge plus. I wouldn't say that I speak French fluently, but when you're hosting or when you're hosting a show, usually it's the language you're used to that really like flows easily. But I've stayed in Cameroon for so long, and I think I have done so much in French now, the way it's like I can have a perfect balance between English and French when I'm hosting, especially when it's like recorded. Like if it's live, I may mess up. It's possible, but if it's recorded, I know I have my script, because we do have scripts too. I have my script, or I have like a guide of how I'm saying what I am saying. That way, it makes it so easy for me to be able to speak French and express myself in French. But then the one thing that anybody knows about me is no
I'm
matter
taking notes.
what's that?
I'm taking notes. This is journalism class for me right now. Let me write.
Yeah, but the one thing that I know for sure is being bilingual is a huge, huge, huge plus. Very, very huge plus. And no matter what, like with me, it's if I am being, because I've done a bunch of like forums, and I've been on a bunch of panels since I started getting the jobs that I have.
Mhm.
I always speak in English, and people just never understand me. So they say, oh, on ne comprend pas. And I reply in English. There's nothing I can do. And then when I'm done speaking, I speak French. And then they're like, but why don't you speak French on stage? I said, because I'm Anglophone. I don't know. Like, why is the Francophone guy not speaking English? Why do you want me to speak French?
Yeah, it's your
So, yeah,
first language, basically. So.
exactly. So I've had that in the beginning. Like, people would invite me to, like, and they're like, you know what? Eva needs to be here, but I feel bad for the people in the audience, because if they're only French people,
They won't get
too
it.
bad. Too
Yeah.
bad. But I would speak English, because you guys, if you're in Nigeria, you speak English. So,
Well, we may not want to admit it, but to be honest, English is actually the international language.
period.
Business language. So that's the truth. There's nothing we can do
There's
about
nothing
it.
we can do about it. Exactly.
You
But
can go
then here in this
to
country, it's like
you can go
minority.
to you can go to whatever country, even Europe, you still find something even in English.
Even in China,
That's what I'm
see,
saying. So English is what you'll find almost everywhere at some point.
exactly. Even in China, it's English. Like, I don't know how Francophones to leave here, go to China, and buy stuff.
Um,
And how do you
so
buy stuff? You speak English, right? So no matter how butchered the English may be, you speak English. So
Right, yeah.
I always put English in the front. Always, always, always do. I just speak French if I have to.
Wow. And I mean, I'm actually impressed. I have to say it, I'm very impressed.
Thank
So,
you so much.
let me ask you this. I have two questions for you. The
Okay.
first question is, how do you consider, or what do you consider success to be? Would you rather say that success is something that you enjoy because it comes from your hard effort, or would it be something, would you feel the same way or feel successful if things were just kind of handed over to you? What of these two will be more of a success definition for you?
For me,
Work
is
hard,
is
result after hard work, or just, hand it
I
back?
actually love that question so much because most of my friends in the States, like, they used to call me on FaceTime and they're like, you know, say, you be the only girl who I know we don't go to Cameroon. In the only work, you making money, no. All the time. And it makes me so happy. Not because of anything, but because they being my friends, like, they know where I come from. Like, they know what I went through in the States. And it's like when they tell me that, I don't push it away. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm being modest and I'm being humble and I'm saying, oh no, I accept it so much. And I'm like, thank you, thank you. You guys keep giving me compliments. Thank you. It really helps me because it's like I am so happy that those people are proud of me, and because they know my journey, let's put it that way. Like, they know everything about me. They know how I've gone, what I've gone through, what I may still be going through, but maybe not. And for them to tell me that, it just makes me so happy and just makes me want to work even more, because it's like literally coming to this, like, I had two options. I was either going to go to South Korea, I don't know why, or I was going to move to Cameroon. Those were my two options, like South Korea or Cameroon. And I don't know why I chose South Korea as one of I don't know why, but but that was it. I was going to go to South Korea and probably be an English teacher or something. I was fine with that, or I was going to come to Cameroon and figure something out, because I had no plan.
Well,
And I don't know why I chose the country where I had no plan for. I had no plan. I didn't know what I was coming to do. All I know is from October when I moved back 2015 to June 2017, I I wasn't doing anything. I was just partying. Just I had no plan. I had nothing planned. Just living. And it's when one of my friends, who happened now to be my co-host, actually, we we did the youth show together in 2005, 2006. His name was Steve Funka. Shout out to Steve. Steve was like, "Oh, you're back. We need to get back on. We need to get back on something. Be it TV, be it radio. Just get back on something." And I was like, "No, I don't want to. I don't want to do radio. I'll probably do TV. Like, no, I'm picky like that. Like, I thought it was still like back in the day where I was hot cake, man. Nobody remembered me anymore." And I was like, "No, I want to do TV. No, no, no." And he was like, "Man, you can't even like." He's like, "It's not even like it used to be. Just understand that you have to start from the beginning. You have to start from scratch." So for me, going to the radio station, pitching my idea, and the head of programming loving the idea, taking it on. But then she was like, you haven't been on radio in a while in Cameroon, so like, I'll only give you a 30-minute show. And I was like, that's fine. And Steve was like, no, who does 30 minutes at the radio? No, 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 no. I was like, no, when they give you 30 minutes, you use the 30 minutes. So you did 30 minutes. And what happened was, usually you have to play 10 songs on a 1 hour show on radio. I couldn't play 10 full songs. So what I did was, I'll play the first verse, and I'll play the chorus, and I'll cut the song, and I'll just continue. So at some point, the head of programming, no, the GM of the radio was like, "Why is that show so short?" And they started saying, "No, it was a tryout, da 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 da." And the boss was like, "Nah, give the show the hours that they want, because it is actually a dope show." And I was like, "See, I told you, just use the 30 minutes that you have. They gave you lemons, make lemonade." So, which is pretty much what we did. So going through all of that, getting the job at Sony, the job with the artist, being able to host events and to organize events like Boiler Room, all of that. I was like, my friends are like, yeah, like, you're a hard worker. It makes me feel so good. I just ask myself, like, I feel like when things were handed to me, I just didn't appreciate like the results of the work I did. That's how I feel. Because at some point with my parents, my parents gave me everything I ever wanted. Like despite the fact that I was in the States and I was working, I was still getting an allowance. So it's like work or no work, I'll still have money. Right. So in my head I just feel like despite the fact that I was working hard and despite the fact that well, to a certain period, I paid I wouldn't pay rent, I wouldn't pay tuition, I wouldn't do any of those things. I don't think I personally I don't think I appreciated what I got from my hard work. I worked hard. I went to school full time and I worked full time, but I still didn't appreciate it. Like I didn't appreciate what my job was giving me until I lost my plan B. And when I lost my plan B, like everything went, "Whew, what's happening? Okay, this is this. Like you weren't ready for this. This just hit you, like blindsided you, da 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 da." And then when I started working hard and seeing great results, that's when I would appreciate it more. I'd be like, okay, you've worked hard, you've done well. I'll pray, I'll thank God. I'll be like, okay, tomorrow's another day, da 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 da. So honestly, for me, it's the first one. For me, success is working hard, yielding results, enjoying those results too, because you could yield results and enjoying those results. And also, most important for me is people seeing the work that I do. I really, really care for that. I don't know why, but I really do. I I like when people
Recognize.
see that I have done a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need some award or some spotlight moment. I don't need any of that. I just want something where it's like, oh, are you going to Cameroon here? Oh, you're going to do music? Oh, I know this girl called Eva. Write to her. She's really good at what she does. That to me is everything. It's like amazing. I don't need anybody to hail me or put me anywhere. I don't need any of that. If just the fact that the first person you thought about when someone approached you concerning media, music, whatever, my name or my face comes to your head first for like someone who knows what she's doing and who is good at what she's doing and who yields successful results to what she does, that to me is like it's the world. It means the world to me.
Wow. Well, do me a favor. If they call you for an award, please go and get it. Go be
I have someone who said the same thing to me, like,
Yeah,
yo, you
we
do
understand that bit, but if they do call you, please go and get it. We'll see what
yes.
you do, and then we'll just be like,
I have a friend who said the same thing.
yeah,
He's like,
you
you don't go anywhere. He's like, he knows. I was nominated for like 4 awards last year. Was it 5? Uh, I just didn't put any energy in it, and they're like, come on, just tell people to even vote. Just just push a little bit and be like, I know. But this year, I've decided that I'll put some energy into. I'll put some more energy into
if
it.
you need somebody to tell people to vote, I volunteer. Trust me.
Yay! Thank you. Yeah, but yeah, I'll put more energy into it because at some point I also felt like, well, I live in a country where for them the measuring rod for how good you are at your job is social media. It's how popular you are on social media, um, which I would say it's sad, but it's just the reality that we live in.
Yeah.
So people who don't even know the job or who don't even work or who don't do anything, like just pose us pretty much. Actually get like these amazing jobs, and you're like, how did this man get this? Like, I've been trying to get this sponsorship. How did he get it? Just because on social media he's out there. So one thing I've decided to work on this year is my social media presence. It's not bad, but it could be better.
Mm,
Um, and it being better means me being able to get more job. Well, not really more jobs, more like gigs, if you will.
mm.
Um, because I do so much on the side. Like I write fact sheets for like hotels and stuff like that. Like I do so much on the side. I try to use my degree properly. I use I do a whole bunch of stuff on the side. So it's like at some point I'd have to decide. Maybe I have to drop everything and focus on one thing only. But the truth is, I work in show business, and show business is an umbrella for so many things. Not just music, not just movies, not just this, that, that. There's so much going on. And so I want to really sell myself as that person who's able to do all of these things under this one umbrella. So technically, I'm not like jack of all trades per se. I technically am, but um, I'm a master of one and many others, but mostly one. So, yeah, I just want to make people to know that I'm able to do a whole bunch of stuff and be more diverse. Yeah, pretty much.
Talking about doing a whole bunch of stuff and your presence on social media, I've seen you somewhere else now that I'm looking at you. Are you wearing Laquelle by any chance?
Yes. So I
See?
do that too.
I don't
I'm
know.
actually wearing like
I look and I'm like, that fabric, like I've seen it
yeah. I'm
somewhere.
wearing the wrap top by Laquelle. Yeah, I am wearing Laquelle.
I actually
So
feel
for
like,
Laquelle, yeah, I'm brand ambassador for Laquelle because the idea for Laquelle was um, to Laquelle does clothes, of course, female clothes. Well, now male and for kids. But the main idea was to be able to get nice, chic, elegant, trendy clothes for women of all sizes, which is very new in Cameroon. Like I still have to, to a certain point, I still had to shop in America for clothes because I'm not a small girl, but I still had to shop in America for some clothes just because I couldn't find trendy clothes here or nice clothes or elegant clothes here. And even if you found them, they're like so expensive. So Laquelle was able to come up with this wide range of sizes where everything, because what happens mostly is if you see a shop where they sell all sizes, the bigger sizes are more expensive than the smaller sizes, even though it's the same item. But what Laquelle does is they have, let's say, this shirt, maybe it's 10,000, if you will, but it's 10,000 for everyone, no matter your size, which was very rare and very different. So them being that different and being that open minded and being diverse and also inclusive, they decided to take a plus size brand ambassador compared to having a regular size or a skinny, if you will, brand ambassador. So that's how I ended up being a brand ambassador for Laquelle.
no, that's a good thing because I have a sister. She's a little plumpy,
Yeah.
but very, you know,
Yeah, you have to be trendy.
I got it kind of,
Yes.
fine in her body and all that. So don't tell her lose weight, da da da. She does it on her own term.
I don't listen to that either. I'm with
Yeah,
her.
it's very important to feel good. And you look good, actually. You look very good.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I'm like,
you.
I saw you.
My
On top
only
of
thing is,
everything, you are also a brand ambassador. Oh my goodness. Like, this girl,
I'm
yeah.
an ambassador for like
Amazing.
yeah, and they're very body positive. Like they
Okay.
don't do anything where um if you're a plus size you feel like, oh no, I can't wear this. No, you can actually, like that's what they're trying to give the
Confident.
plus size girls that confidence. Like, look, you see what that skinny girl is wearing, you can wear it too. It just, we're just going to be a little bit more presentable if you want, because being
Rock
plus
it.
size, there are certain clothes that if you wear, you're going to look more, more out there or more sexual than a skinnier girl. So which is what I love with Laquelle is even though they're doing the same thing for everyone, when the plus size at least will still look presentable, not out there, not extra sexy or anything,
Right.
but still, yeah, but still is the same item as a skinnier girl. So
That's
they're very inclusive. I love, 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 love it. When they asked me to do it, I was so happy. I was so happy. I was like, yay.
right. So, if I was to ask you now to talk to your young self,
Yeah,
let's say, I don't know, 5 years back and so on, what would you tell her?
let's go a little bit further back. Let's
Well,
go like
go
10.
as you want. As long as it's your young self at some point,
Yeah.
what would you
Okay,
tell
so
her?
I'll go 10 years from now. 10, well, let's say uh, let's say 10, 10, 10, 12. I'll go back. I will I wouldn't want to change anything, but I would tell my younger self to be more to be more careful, and to be smarter in certain life choices. I would also tell my younger self that things will get better because at some point I went into really bad depression for like 3 years. So I'll tell my younger self to be strong and to not worry, and that things will get better with time. But most importantly, I would tell my younger self to be smarter with certain decisions because I don't regret anything I've ever done in my life. I just consider them as lessons. However, I also feel like if I had a certain mindset or if I knew certain things that I know now, even though they say, it's never too late or never, yeah, that's never too late. Um, if I had a certain mindset back then, there are certain things that wouldn't be happening now. But then again, at the same time, things are happening now because those things didn't happen back then. So it's a little bit, but yeah, I'll just tell myself to be smarter. I'll tell myself to work harder, and I'll tell myself to be stronger. Most importantly, um, I'll tell my younger self to start working on her relationship with God a little bit earlier than than now. So that's the most important one for me.
Okay. And on top of your head like that, without thinking too much, what
Mm.
would you say is your worst memory in your career journey? Like,
In my career journey, my worst memory.
yeah, like
Um,
what was the thing that was really like, oh my goodness, awful or so sad
yes.
or
Yeah,
so
2019, towards the early times of 2019, I had actually invested so much money in production of like six different shows, and I can't even show you one show. I can't even show you a rush. I can't even show you a raw footage, nothing, because the camera, the technicians, if you want, or the sound engineers, the cameraman, everything, all of them have disappeared. I can't even find one person. Everything is gone. I have nothing. At that point, I was like, you know what? Like, this is just too much for me to handle. I've lost all of this money. So I'm going to find like a corporate job. So I applied for jobs like in at the American Embassy. I did apply for a job there. I applied for a job at the UN. I applied for jobs everywhere. To be like a communication something. Because I was like, you know what? I just need a corporate job where like every month I get my salary and I'm just a kind of like proper, I don't know. I just wanted a corporate job. Like I don't have to spend money to do anything. I don't have to produce anything. It was bad. Like I literally had to at some point go with like officers to one of the camera guys' houses, and his house was empty. There was nothing. Everything was gone. Like everybody had disappeared with like six different shows. You can imagine. Some shows I shot in Boya, some shows I shot in Limbe, some in Yaoundé, and here in Douala. Everything is gone. I can't even pick up my phone and say I'll call one person whom I used to work with back then, because they're all disappeared. And I'm sure you ask yourself, like, okay, that was you producing shows like 2019 and 2021. You're back producing again.
yeah, how
It's
did you not go for that
yeah.
corporate job? What made you change your mind?
What made me change my mind is the people I work with now. It's very difficult to find people who have the same drive, the same vision as you, and who actually take on a project like it was theirs. The people I worked with back then, all they cared about was getting paid. The the only one thing that I actually got back as something was a little commercial I had done, but it was poorly done, so I never used it. So it's wherever it is. But the people I work with now are on the same wavelength as me when it comes to hard work, when it comes to the vision, when it comes to everything, everything. Like nobody is like how in school you have a group project and then there's like one person who does nothing, and there's another person who does like half and half, and then you have that one person who does all the work. That's how it felt back then. But now it's like a group project where everybody is putting in a huge amount of work. So it's easier. And also financially, it is also easier because not everybody's actually putting in some money. But back then, I was the only one who was actually like funding the project. So overall is way better now than back then because of the people I work with.
Okay. Then do you have any good memory, like something that was amazing, something that went well, like beyond your expectation, besides being
My my radio show. Oh my gosh, I didn't expect it to go that far. My radio show lasted so long before I actually quit working at the radio, because it was becoming too much. My radio show it became something else. The 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 heart behind it, or the aim of having that show, was for me to actually promote more of up and coming artists, because they never never have now, and still didn't back then. They never had a platform where they could express themselves, where they could talk, where they could play their music. So that was the reason why I created that show. And not only that, also my show was educational as well as entertaining. Like on days, and every day had a theme. I had a theme, a different theme every day for 4 years. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Every day there was a new theme, and people learned so much from my show. When I would travel, sorry, I got a phone call. When I would travel and I would go to the States, I would go to the dollar store and buy like books and pens and stuff like that, and then come back and do like a school giveaway or like a school, and ask the dumbest questions. Like, it's not even like ask a proper question, like, oh, no, I'll ask like the dumbest questions, just so many people could actually win books and pens and stuff for their kids to go back to school. Because you never know, most people may probably have to go through hard times and not have go through hard times and may not have money um to pay their buy like school supplies for the kids.
Yeah,
Exactly. So if you call the show, um and you answer like a crazy question, what is the capital of Cameroon, like something so random like that, and you win. And what we used to do is, when I'll actually assemble it together. Like, I'll put a pen, I'll put books. It's
I think
like
that.
a little package. Yeah,
Mhm.
like a little package in a little gift bag, and people will win. My packages used to go like crazy, and they used to say, "Oh, c'est le crayon des États-Unis." It was fun. It was fun. They'll have that, and during holidays and stuff, like I'll put away like 20K. My co-host will probably put away 20K as well. We'll come up with like a little money financial thing and just do like, okay, the first person to call will get this money for your Christmas dinner or your Christmas this. I really, career wise, my radio show is something I'm very, 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 very proud of. I feel like I did so much. My GM used to ask himself questions like, why am I even doing all of this? I was like, it makes people happy. It makes me happy. So, I really don't, I never really cared.
Yeah,
But yeah, best good memories, my radio show, dope music.
I think that's amazing. I actually tried something like that once, to help people. But what I did is I got some friends together.
Hmm.
I told them, I said, listen, we spend money in restaurants. So instead of going to spend that money in restaurants, let's go
Right.
out. I actually
Exactly.
know a lot of friends of mine. We went to the guy once. We went to, I think was it PK 14, some PK, like all the way out there.
All the way, yeah.
And they had like a house for homeless kids,
Mm.
and they just played balls with them. They play soccer, like a soccer match. They were,
Right.
they were all from different places, between people working in corporate jobs, all kind of guys. They just came together. All my friends, they play with those kids. They had no clue.
It's so much fun.
We call them Nanga, the Nanga.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
school. Exactly. So they play with them,
It's,
they talk with them. And some
yeah.
friends of mine, we made like sandwiches, like drinks
Yeah.
after
It's
play.
so much fun.
They interacted with them, and you actually see a lot of them are smart. They just don't have the help they
The
need.
resources, and yeah,
They're
exactly.
pretty smart. I kind of
Exactly.
put foot up on that for now, because distance is not easy for me to, pilot it from here, but
Definitely.
something
Definitely.
that really gets to my heart. So
Also, with Corona, traveling is so tough at this
I can
point. So,
definitely relate when you do things like that. To me, it speaks so much,
yeah,
and I
yeah, it's
think
amazing. I actually
any,
loved it.
any little helps. It doesn't matter how little, it always goes a long way.
Hmm. And I have a friend. His name is Gabriel. He has a bag company. He makes bags. He makes them here. He lives in the States, but he makes the bags here. And his rep here um, will will call me. We'll take like 20, 30 bags, go to an orphanage, fill them up with like books and pens and stuff, go to an orphanage and donate them before the school year starts. So it's wonderful.
I think if we were many to do that, they would put, because we actually have mix. Let's be honest, because there's this big gap. There's no
Hmm.
longer middle class, if you ask me, in Cameroon. I feel like the middle class has vanished. It's either
Yeah,
you're rich or you're poor.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's
but I feel like that's what it is. It's either you're rich or you're poor. You
cool.
know,
Yeah,
if the rich can just take a little less of, what is it that is trendy there? Le Borge, le C, whatever it's called.
Ah, you're calling the right places.
Maybe 2 days of those, and share it with the lesser
You're
income
calling the right
population.
places.
It'll be
Yeah,
better, you
and
know.
that's true.
It
And
doesn't.
now they're even like more expensive restaurants than Bo's and Lycée and stuff now. And
Uh,
you see, like we all go there. And I went there the one time, and I felt so guilty because I was like, oh my god. Not saying like you can't treat yourself or have fun or any other thing.
but all I'm saying is think a little bit,
Is that
Well,
just think about like if you just take this weekend
that's the
off,
secret. Mhm.
stay home, the money you'd have spent that weekend, you can bless someone. That's all. It's not like
I know,
it's not
right?
like we're asking you to completely like have no social life. It's just
I can talk with you all day from the look of it, but we're almost out of time.
I
So
know.
just have one last question for you.
Okay.
Looking at today's society and the impact and influence of social media, the projection, the image that is sent to our youth and to people nowadays, what would you think we should do more to help young ladies or women in general to better build themselves, like to grow positively? What can be done,
Hmm.
in your opinion? Because many can say, social media is like a sword, two edges.
It is.
But
It's a
then,
double-edged sword. It is.
but
Yeah.
what they broadcast, what they project also had an impact, positive, negative. Like, do you think there
Hmm.
is a right path towards building better Cameroonian ladies? Do they have better examples? Do they have more? Are there enough good examples for them to follow? I mean, I don't know. Is there something we need to do
I
differently?
think
Or are we on the good
I also really love that question because it's something that I've always thought about, and that's one of the reasons why I said yes to hosting the show on women, on the first woman to do what in the country, because I feel like those are things we don't know about. I've discovered women that I didn't even know existed. Like some of them I've heard about them, but just didn't know that they were the first to do this. And some I've never heard about them, and it's exciting to see that in almost every single career field or every domain, there's a woman who decided to, go against the odds and do something that has, created a legacy, if you will.
yeah.
It's also comes down to another show that I'm actually hosting again. I'm actually producing for this year, but hopefully in years to come, which is also based on women. It's actually a very, very inspired by the show, by the three shows that I watch a lot while I'm here: The View, The Real, and there's something else. The Talk,
Talk,
I think.
that's all.
Is it The Talk? Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
I watch those three shows a lot. Um, and we don't have a show like that. So I'm actually working on something like that now, where we're not only going to be centered around like social women issues and stuff. We'll also talk politics. We'll talk everything, but in the eyes or in the mind or as a woman, like how do you see this? Um, Also, on top of that, for March, which is definitely the Women's Month,
Mm.
I'm also with two other colleagues of mine. We're also doing this show, not a show, but like a workshop called Radio Save My Life, Women Edition. It's a concept that already exists. It's owned by a man, another fellow colleague at the media. So last year, my colleague and I, who's my technically my partner for everything now, her name is Emekati. We proposed to him to do a Radio Save My Life Women Edition for the month of March. So we will bring in all the women who are considered, and not even considered, like the women who are like legends in the media world, or in the entertainment world in general. It doesn't only have to be a journalist. So they can come over and speak to the young girls who maybe want to be in media, who are in media, even to us, because I don't know everything, despite my however many years. They're still going to teach me things I don't know. And we're going to invite people from everywhere. We're going to invite a PR to come and teach us how to, what to write, what to say, how to put ourselves out there as a brand. We're going to come with a marketing officer, a marketing manager who will come over and tell us how to sell ourselves better. All of those things. So the regular girl. So even if you're not into media, but you're into social media, you're still going to learn how to brand yourself through a marketing manager.
Mhm.
Even if you're, so we're trying to just get everybody everywhere. Is it going to be easy? No. But I think that those are the things that we lack, because at no point will a young girl sit in front of the TV and be like, oh, I want to watch XYZ show at 8 p.m. because it's Eva and Ime. We don't even have that. Like, we don't have a show that's only for girls, only for women. We don't have any of those things. So I think the more we try to create content, or the more we try to do stuff that are for women, will be able to reach, or be able to make young girls understand that you don't have to necessarily be nude to, to get attention on social media or whatever. Even though, again, we'll talk about self-love and accept yourself for who you are, and feminism, and do what you want. Yes, however, in real life, in real life, especially in a country like Cameroon, because it's not like you're in America or you're in France, where you can make serious money off of social media. Here, it's still a baby. It's still in the fetal stage, so you're not even sure if it's going to go any bigger. Well, it may, but for now, we have to be able to reach out to them through these outlets, because nothing we can do. I'm also going to be doing the TV show. We're going to also be we're also going to organize brunches, like twice a month, just so, again, women can get together and we can talk about everything: mental health, relationships, self-esteem, self-confidence, self-love, family, all of that. We're going to, work life, everything. We'll talk about all of that, because one thing I noticed is we are women in this country are, and very are disrespected. That's just it. Very disrespected. Very disrespected. I remember I went to the pharmacy to ask for birth control, and I was insulted. As old as I am, they still tried to disgrace me. Tu ne sais
Indeed.
pas combien ça coûte. Tu veux pas tomber enceinte. It doesn't concern you if I'm trying to tomber enceinte or not. It's not your business. So you see, but then that's that, stuff like that. When you do that to someone as old as me, I'm not even a child anymore. I'm 32. If you're going to tell me that, and I'll be like, hey, then what happens to the 18-year-old, the 19-year-old, the 22-year-old who would want to go and get birth control to educate themselves, or maybe sex education or whatever, and then you disgrace them or you embarrass them? Then they come up with the craziest ways or the craziest things to I don't know, like, there's no education there.
They
So
become exposed. They become more exposed
exact
to anything.
exactly, like, where is the knowledge if they
Yeah.
don't? And then let's not also, let's not pretend, but also in our own family homes, it's uncomfortable having that conversation with your kids. I think it's now that we're really trying to be open about it. So your child doesn't know where to go. She's like, if I go to my mom will probably feel like, oh, are you sexually active already? That may be a problem. You can't go to your dad because no way, it's a man. Your sister will probably just be like, oh, are you trying to be an adult? Like, look at this one, see the one, you want to be now, yeah? You don't owe it, so you can't ask questions. So you end up going to your friend whom you consider as like the most experienced one of all of you, and she'll tell you something crazy like, oh no, you don't have to wear condoms, you don't have to do this. If you drink whiskey, everything in your body would just die. I've heard all kinds of things.
And
So yeah, I
also,
just think that more concepts, a lot more content that has to do with women is so important, because we lack those things, and stuff that will attract all the young girls as well, not just like 25 and up, but like 18, high school, and of course university and stuff like that. So I think a lot of content for women is needed for us to be able to reach the target.
well, that sounds like I totally agree with you. We need more. We need to speak louder. We need to talk louder. We need to have more organizations. More structure for women to be able to evolve. For women, especially the young ones, to be able to
Yeah.
learn and know how to navigate themselves, especially these days, because, like you said, depending on where you are, the odds are different. Yeah, young girls have the opportunity to be educated, to go to the doctor, have some kind of sexual education. Back home is not the case. It's still a very big taboo.
Yeah, it's a
And
taboo, and it's
social
It's
media now
it
have
gets
come.
disgraced.
Yeah, and social media have come now. You have people who are not even versed that are talking about all kind of recipes, all kind of methods, all kind of things, and it opens those girls to go there and just experiment those things, endangering themselves without even knowing when they could have been in a safer environment if they were groomed properly.
Exactly.
So I think
Exactly.
that is great, and I totally encourage you. I wish
Thank
you
you.
well in all those your venture.
Thank you so much.
I don't know how many more hats you will add by the time we talk again. But,
Hopefully I'll be able to just, let some stuff go. At some point I am going to. At some point I'll have to just like
I mean, if it
put
works for
everything down.
you, all I'm saying is I see somebody who seems very happy. I'm struggling to find the serious, not smiling boss in you right now. But
Right? It doesn't exist. I just think maybe like the setting is what like brings it out, I think.
yeah, I
Yeah,
trust
I
you.
think
I
it's
totally understand because I lived in Cameroon. I mean, I'm from Cameroon, grew up there, lived there. I know it could be tough. Just as a
yeah,
young person, being a head or a manager, whew, you have to deal with
yeah.
all
You have to
people.
deal with all kinds of egos and all kinds of
Mhm.
like you see at some point even I've had men like tell me that I'm not going to boss them around. Like I not me. I am not going to boss them around. That I wouldn't tell them what to do.
It's the
Yeah, at
fact.
some point it's but then I impose. You do it.
I
I
guess you
don't
have
I don't
to,
even
because in some companies where you find older ladies, you have to call them ma in a professional environment, which
right.
does not make sense. It should be
It doesn't
missing.
make sense. Like why am I calling you ma anyway? But
Mama,
like
mama, yes,
c'est la mère. No.
and
It is not
we bring the
it is
street
not la mère.
out the street. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah. But what I do, my strategy, which when I started implementing actually worked, is to cut off your salary. So when you do that, they get work done. That was because you would talk, you would yell, you would this, they wouldn't do it. So the strategy is, if I had to pay you 10,000 francs, I'll pay you five. And what are you going
yeah,
to say? You
that's
wouldn't.
your wages, don't you? You gotta earn your wages. So, for our closing notes, what advice
Yes,
would you give ladies in general? Because ladies, us women, especially Cameroonian women, whether we live abroad or in Cameroon, we are still women. Same
yes,
bodies, same problems in the different
yes.
colors. To be honest, that's how I see
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's
So,
true.
what advice would you give us? A young woman, a woman like us in her 30, in her 40. I mean, I heard you loud and clear when you first said everything is going to work out. To me, that's like something
Yeah,
like we should
everything will
all follow
always work out.
now because
For me, first of all, because I one of the things that got me out of depression actually was religion, or I don't know, spirituality, Christianity, whatever you want to call it. Me me building a strong relationship with God really took me out of depression, and kind of I think it did. I just didn't know that's what it was at that time. I found my purpose during that whole process, and I think that's what I've been following. And I think that's what I've been following so much and so passionately, if you will, because I just don't understand where all of this is coming from. Where I'm so happy to go to work. I guess me finding my purpose is what pushed me. So my advice, pretty much to any woman out there, is find your purpose, um, and from there you would, in my opinion, from there you would know exactly how to move. Because if you find your purpose and you know that this is your purpose right here, then you know how to be able to get there. Sometimes you may not know, and that's where, um, for those who believe in God or Buddha or Jewish, whatever, I think they should, you know, grow that relationship they have with the. I think they should build that relationship that they have with the spiritual being that they believe in. Us, we know about Christianity. Then when you go to America, you know that everybody has their own thing going on. So,
yeah,
yeah, I just think that every woman should just know what her purpose is. Every woman should have an abundance of self love. Um, so because people say things. People will always say things. Can you just imagine if there was no self love in my heart, and this guy tells me I did sexual favors to get my job? How would I would have felt? That would have just ruined me. But I know my worth. I know there's a lot of self love in me. I just want every woman to feel the same way. A bunch of self confidence, to know their worth, to know their purpose, and then everything. It wouldn't be easy, but it will work out. Like I always say, the Bible says, "No weapons fashioned against me shall prosper." He didn't say that there wouldn't be weapons. He said the weapons wouldn't prosper. That's all.
So
So let's fight those weapons. But the thing is, they wouldn't prosper. We're always going to win at the end. So that's my advice.
thank you so much, Eva, and
Thank
thank
you for
you
having me.
for giving me so much time of yours and for sharing this much.
Thank
Um,
you.
I really hope that when people hear you, they find something in their head, that gives them
I
that spark
I hope so
to
too.
get back on the horse and stay on the horse because we're going to fall off the horse a lot.
I know. I know. It's not easy, but we'll get there.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why I feel like Can Do, hopefully, will kind of bring us a little bit closer. It's a
Closer.
fun to help us just, like I said, know that we are one, just different
Yes,
colors,
definitely.
different sides, but same problems, same issues.
Definitely.
Nobody is alone. We are all in this together.
Right. Exactly.
I wish you all the
Exactly.
best, and I can't wait
Thank
to hear
you.
your shows. I'll be on the lookout.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
check your
Thank you.
social media more often,
Yes.
and I'll get myself a piece of lacquer too. There you go.
Yes, please do. Amazing
I will,
clothing.
I will, and I'll tag you on it. Promise.
Please do. Please do.
Thanks again, and have a lovely day. Stay
Thank
blessed.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.